Welcome to tutorial number 8. This is Liwali Mshokavanji, and today we'll be looking at for loops. We're starting with for loops. In tutorial number 7, in case you missed that, we looked at nested if statements. So we start our journey in for loops today, and I'm kind of chilled. I'm in the mood, my birthday is coming up soon, and I'll do it in quarantine, lockdown, whatever you wanna call it. I'm doing it alone, which is perfectly perfect for me. I'm not really a social person, but I wanted to invite you guys if this wasn't the case. Anyway, let's start our journey in for loop. So I've wrote a piece of code. I've left some white spaces here. I want to explain everything exactly as it is so that we get a clear picture. So we'll be talking about loops. We'll start with the for loop. So a loop is basically used to repeat piece of code. It's going to repeat piece of code a number of times. So yeah, so on repeat, it's on replay, yeah. So here is a piece of code, and I'm quickly going to explain it. Here in number 9, in line 9, we have our for. You start a for loop or a for statement with the word for, lowercase letters, of course. So we have for, brackets, curly brace here. So in between this is where you write the code that you want to repeat. In between the curly braces is where you write the code you want to repeat. So a for loop is basically made up of 3 parts. We have declaration and initialization. We have the condition. We have the incrementer. So here we basically can have something incrementing or a decrement. Yeah. Or a decrement, sorry. Yeah, here it can be both. It's either you can decrease or you can increase. So in the declaration and initialization, I've told you, please understand variables. Variables are very important to understand. So here in the declaration and initialization, we have while you're declaring a variable, that's going to help you keep track of how many times you're actually looping. So you need a variable, a container that's going to keep track of how many times you're looping. So here we create a variable, integer type, of course. A all loops in short use integers, because you're basically counting, you're repeating something a number of times. So we want to do that with whole numbers. We don't want to use decimal, please. So unless maybe some special case of program. So here we have int I. So I becomes our variable, I becomes our container, and in this container we're placing the value 0. We're initializing it to 0, and then comes the other part, which is the condition, and we're saying as long as I is less than 6, we should continue repeating the code or looping as long as this condition is true. Let's continue looping, you see. And here we're incrementing the value of I. Each time we loop, we have to keep track, we have to count to say, oh, that was 1. So as long as the value in I is less than 6, let's continue looping. So I'll run this and we'll continue with our explanation. Let's build and run this. I'm using Dev C++. I love Dev C++. If this is when you're joining us, don't get confused. It's compiling right now. Don't know why it's taking. So it's done, and as you can see, we're printing out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 0 to 5. Those are the numbers that are printed out. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 to 5. So why is it printing out 0 to 5? Because here the value in I is starting at 0. We're saying the first value in I is 0. We initialize it to 0, and then it's going to check. I is now holding 0, so it's going to check the value in I. Is it less than 6? Is 0 less than 6? Of course 0 is less than 6. Then what do we do out? We see out I, you see, without the double quotes, meaning we're seeing out the value, and the value in this case is what? The value is 0. In this case the value is 0. So let me quickly do this. So in this case the value is 0, so we print out 0. See that? The first time the value of I is 0, so we print out 0. So after it prints out 0, we come here to the incrementer. So what the incrementer does, what I++ does, it says whatever value is in I, add 1. That's what plus means. So if there's a variable and plus, know that it's incrementing by 1, it's adding 1. So after it prints out 0, it comes here, it adds 1. What's 0 plus 1? 0 plus 1 is what? Is 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. Then it comes back. It won't come back to the declaration. It comes back to the condition. After incrementing, it comes back to the condition. It tests to say, what's the value of I now? The value of I is now 1. Is 1 less than 6? Of course, 1 is less than 6. So what's going to happen is it's going to print out the 1. It's going to print out the 1. And then after it prints out the 1, we come back here to the what? Incrementer, which is plus. It's going to say, alright, the value of I is now 1. So 1 plus 1, the value of I is now what? 2. It's incremented to 2. Then we come back to the condition. Is the value of I less than 6? Is 2 less than 6? Yes. We print out the value of I, which is 2. So it's going to print out 2. Then from there, we increment. We have 3. So 2 plus 1 becomes 3. So I becomes 3. Is I less than 6, meaning 3 less than 6, of course, meaning we print out what? 3. After we print out 3, it gets here, it comes back to the incrementer. 3 plus 1, we get 4. 3 plus 1, we get 4. Is I less than 6, meaning 4 is, because I has now the value of 4. Is 4 less than 6? Of course, 4 is less than 6, so it prints out 4. Increments, we now have I as 5. Is 5 less than 6? Of course, so it prints out 5. Now, after 5, it's going to increment here. 5 plus 1, 6. It's going to give us 6. Then we're going to be like, is 6, because the value in I now is what? Is 6. It's going to say, is 6 less than 6? I don't know what universe you live in, or I don't know what universe I live in, but 6 cannot be less than 6. 6 is only equal to 6. It can't be less, it can be greater. So once it meets this, it's going to say, is 6 less than 6? No. This becomes false. The condition becomes false. And it won't repeat this code. It won't do anything. It won't run any code in between the two curly braces. It's going to quickly exit. And when it exits, it's going to return what? 0, meaning the program ends. So that's what's basically going on. So if we run this again, first time I is 0, it prints 0 because 0 is less than 6. It increments to 1. Is 1 less than 6? Yes, it prints. Increments to 2. Is 2 less than 6? Yes, it prints. Increments to 3. Is 3 less than 6? Yes, it prints. To 4. Is 4 less than 6? Yes, it prints. To 5. Is 5 less than 6? Yes, it prints. Then it increments to 6. Is 6 less than 6? No. Then it stops. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't print. So that's what's basically going on. So let's see how best we can manipulate the loop, the for loop, play around with it. So let's see how best we can do this. If I wanted to go up to 10, I would say less than 11. Yeah, I would say in the condition, I would say as long as it's less than 11. So it's going to count from 0 to 10, as you can see. Yeah, there. What if I wanted to end at 11 without saying less than 12? Okay, there's several ways. You can say less, then you can add equal. You can say if it's less than 11, print. If it's not less than 11 but it's equal to 11, print. And this is going to include the 11 as well. And boom, the 11 has been included when you say less or equal. So careful how you write your condition. We do not want an instance where you create a forever loop, an infinity loop, a loop that runs because the condition will never be satisfied. I'll show you an example of that as we go. And it's not always that you have to start from 0. No, I can start from 5 and it's going to print from 5 to 11. So if we build and run this, we're going to have 5 to 11. So it basically says start at 5 and end where it's equal to 11, then stop there. See that? That's what it's basically doing. So another thing I talked about decrementing. when I say decrement, here incrementing, we're saying I plus plus. So when we want to decrease, obviously it's going to be I kk. Who agrees? Okay, no, it's kk. Who agrees with me? Yeah, you probably don't all agree with me. Yeah, so it's not kk, it's minus minus, because minus is used to subtract. So instead of incrementing, we're going to say decrement. Now when you say decrement, meaning we have to start somewhere and end somewhere, we come to our condition. Okay, if we start from 0 and we're decrementing from 0, meaning we're going into the negative numbers, we need to stop at a negative number, not at a positive number. You understand that? So here, instead of positive 11, we're going to say negative 11. Yeah, we're going to say negative 11. When you compile this, we're going to say as long as I is less, but 0 is 0 less than negative 11, so it's not less than negative 11, so this sign has to change, has to be greater, yeah. So now we have 0 is now decreasing, 0, negative 1 to negative 11. So careful with how you write your condition. I repeat myself, careful with how you write your condition. So here you can set it to 20. It's going to count from 20 to negative 11. So because it's decreasing, you see that it's going to start at 20 until it gets what, to negative 11. So we have 14, 13, what into the negative numbers. Don't worry, it starts at 20. Yeah, it starts at 20. So careful with how you write your condition. So basically here we're saying I should start from 20, and then as long as I is greater or equal to negative 11. So as we decrease, you find the numbers will be testing to say, oh yeah, they are greater than negative 11, and it's going to be printing until it reaches negative 12, which won't be negative 12 won't be greater than negative 11 and won't be equal. Then it won't print out 12 and it's going to stop. So let me show you an example of an infinity loop. Yeah, infinity loop. I'll show you that. I hate infinity loops. So okay, we'll print out in reverse. So our condition now will be as long as the number, we're printing in reverse, as long as the number is less than 1, let it continue at decrementing. This is going to create a forever loop, meaning a very dangerous piece of nasty stuff right here, but I'm doing it for you. Check this out. It keeps on going. It's never stopping because the condition will never be met. Oh crap, sorry for that. So the condition will never be met no matter what. Forgot to charge my battery. You know, we've been having power issues in my country lately, and that's just terrible. It's terrible, very, very bad. So that's what you need to know about the for loop right now. So this is the for loop. So we can quickly let me just quickly get rid of these comments. I wanted you to you to see the actual action. Yeah, so I wanted you to see exactly how we do it. So this is our for loop. So that's how you write a never terminating loop. Careful. So you always have to keep in mind where you're starting from. Always look at your condition. Make sure there's a point in your condition where it's going to be satisfied. Don't let it go on forever. You're going to have problems. So in here, while we're printing out the value of I, if we want, we can almost do anything, whatever we want. So we can say print out, this name is stuck in my mind, so print out that name. Then it's going to print out this name forever. Woo! Yeah, forever. Wow. Yes, Barbara is my forever. Strange. Anyway, that's what happens. So I'm going to return our plus plus here, and I'm going to say 0. As long as 0 is less than, I'm going to say 5. This condition, of course, will be met. It's going to print the name 5 times, starting from 0 to 5 to 4, which is 5. So we have here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. In actual sense, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so it's printed there. Pa, pa, pa. So whatever code you write in here will be repeated according to how you've wrote your for loop. So right now let's look at the let me take this out. Let's talk about the while loop. Yeah, let's talk about the while loop right now. And I've just decided we'll look at while loops in the next tutorial because we've pretty much run out of time. So see you in the next tutorial. We're going to talk about while loops and do while loops, then we'll go to nested loops, right? Alright, thank you. I hope you subscribe and I hope to see you later. And you know, my songs are just jamming nice, so you know, I gotta get in the mood.